Approaching 92-degree evening in St. Louis. We welcome you to Baseball Night in America from Busch Stadium. It's the second of a three-game weekend series on Fox. The Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. The surprising Braves atop the National League East three-game lead on the Phillies. Cardinals 5.5 out in the NL Central. Good evening, everybody. I'm Kenny Albert, joined by our battery in the broadcast booth. David Cohen on the mound, A.J. Przinsky behind the plate. David, let's start with the Braves. Nobody expected Atlanta to be in this position, first place at the halfway point. How have they done it?
Well, I think they've got some kids that have gotten there ahead of schedule. I mean, you get that kind of youthful energy infused into the clubhouse, onto the field. It invigorates the veterans as well. And think about Acuna and Albies. Boy, not only can they play the game, but they have just lit it up. Their energy, the crowd, the fan base, and they've also inspired some of their veterans too. I think when you look across the board, Markakis is having a career year, and of course Freddie Freeman, one of the best players in the game. And if you haven't noticed, he doesn't get enough credit for what he does on the field.
Braves with a 5-1 victory in the series opener here in St. Louis last night. AJ, Cardinals look to get back on track. They're 5.5 out in the Central, and Matt Carpenter, after a slow start, has been on fire over the last 6 weeks.
Well, Matt Carpenter came off an injury in spring training. As we talked to him, he said, hey, look, guys, I took April off, tried to get back from the injury. He had a problem in spring training, but since he's been back in May 16th, this guy's been unbelievable. Home runs, on base, doing everything for the Cardinals. They moved him to the leadoff spot where he's more comfortable. He feels good up there. Mike Matheny loves him up there, not because of his speed, because of the at-bats he gives you. Mike Matheny says as Matt Carpenter goes, the Cardinal goes, so they need a big night out of Matt Carpenter.
Well, the Braves hope to make it 2 straight. Cardinals looking for revenge here at home. Stars on both sides. Braves and Cardinals coming up on Fox. Back in St. Louis, Baseball Night in America on Fox. 92 degrees. Guys, it feels like 105.
St. Louis in the summer, yeah. 60% humidity. Actually, the wind's blowing out the left just a little bit. Ball was carrying in batting practice.
Sunny skies. A little rain earlier. We talked to Brian Snitker earlier today. Grew up 2 hours away, Decatur, Illinois. He used to travel with his family to St. Louis for Cardinals games as a youngster, although he was a Cubs fan.
Yeah, he did admit that he was a Cubs fan, but what a good baseball man he is. He's a good fit for this youthful energy, as we mentioned in the open.
Now, what a job the Braves have done over the first half of this season at 46-34. Ender Inciarte will lead off, followed by Albies, Freeman, Markakis, Suzuki, Acuna Jr., Camargo, Swanson, and tonight's starting pitcher for Atlanta, Max Fried, as the Braves get set to face the 24-year-old right-hander making his team-leading 17th start this season, Luke Weaver.
Kind of been a mixed bag for Mr. Weaver so far this season, and former #1 pick out of Florida State University, AJ.
Yeah, I love those Seminoles.
AJ, of course, out of University of Florida. Luke Weaver, record of 4-6, looking for his first win at home this season. The defensive lineup brought to you by Bright House Financial, established by MetLife. The battery of Weaver and Yadier Molina.
Key stat at the top there, Kenny. 67 errors this season, very un-Cardinal-like. The last couple of years they've had that problem. They really need to cut down on that.
They lead the league in errors as Inciarte steps in, swings at the first pitch, and grounds out to the second baseman, Churko. One pitch, one away. Time now for our forward keys to the game.
The keys to the game for the Braves: keep the pressure on. That means get these young guys, Inciarte, Albies, Acuna, on the bases, cause pressure on the Cardinals, make them take the extra base, not necessarily stealing bases, but keep the pressure on the Cardinals, and Cardinals catch the ball. We just talked about their number of errors that they have on the year. We saw a bad throw from Harrison Bader in right field last night. He was out working on it today, but they need to catch the ball and improve their defense.
So with one away, here's 21-year-old Ozzie Albies. What a season as he takes outside for ball one. He's fourth in the league with 17 home runs, leads the National League in runs scored with 62, working on a 9-game hit streak. 1 for 5 in last night's game. Now 1-1.
You know, there's 6 players in the major leagues that have at least 10 home runs and 20 doubles. 2 of them are in this Braves lineup. Albies is one of them, Albies, and Freddie Freeman the other.
Freeman on deck. The 1-1 from Weaver. Fastball missing high. Ball 2, now 2-1. There's Freeman having his best season. Markakis will follow him. Now 2-2 on Albies, and those 3, Markakis, Freeman, and Albies, are 1, 2, and 4 in the National League in hits over the first half.
When you're starting out against this Braves lineup early in the game, first inning, you get Inciarte if he gets on base, and then you got to face those 3. That's trouble for a pitcher. And Inciarte did him a favor tonight by swinging at the first pitch, making a first pitch out. But man, that's kind of a murderer's row there. That very unheralded also. Not the Yankees, not the Red Sox, the names you know, but these guys can do damage and do damage quick.
Two from Luke Weaver, and the count is now full. Albies facing Weaver for the first time. Weaver has never started a game against Atlanta in his 3-year career. Payoff pitch, fouled off. And you talk about this Braves offense. We spoke with their manager, Brian Snitker. He said, frankly, we did not expect to be where we are. He said we were a little concerned about our offense, but it's been very, very good.
It has. It's been surprising. They're not surprised by the the guys they have doing it, I think, they're more surprised by the power of Albies. They didn't expect him to have the power quite yet. Markakis is kind of having a renaissance year as an older fella in his mid-30s. Got a new haircut too, which he's always been bald for all these years. Now he has this new haircut, so maybe that's it, like Samson. But I think that's more of the surprise. It's not that who's doing it, but just the amount of production they're getting, mainly from those three people.
8th pitch of the at-bat. Weaver wins the battle. 2 out.
Yeah, after an 8-pitch at bat, up the ladder, ball 4. But that's too much for Albies to lay off of, and you can tell by the look on his face he knew the minute he offered.
Maybe a little tough background with the shadows, the bright background into the shadows out of Weaver's hand, but you have a long at bat like that, you hate to swing at a pitch to end it.
So here's Freeman. He swings at the first pitch from Weaver. And he fouls out to the left fielder, Ozuna. A 10-pitch, 1-2-3 first inning for Luke Weaver. Braves retired in order in the top half. Cardinals will send up Carpenter, Pham, Martinez, followed by Ozuna, Molina, Jerko, and then Bader, Munoz, and Weaver. As the Cardinals face 24-year-old left-hander Max Fried, recalled by the Braves to replace the injured Brandon McCarthy, who was initially scheduled to start tonight's game. His only major league start this season back on Memorial Day. A no decision against the Mets. He went 5 innings. Also pitched out of the bullpen 4 times this year for the Braves. And has also made 10 starts in the minor leagues between AA and AAA. Sixth major league start for Fried as he faces Matt Carpenter. AJ, we talked about Carpenter in our open. How about his numbers in Cardinal wins and losses this season?
Well, the numbers don't lie. Mike Matheny said it. Hey, we need this guy to go. He is the engine that drives the train. And right there, 39 wins, 331, 36 losses, 181. So no pressure, Matt Carpenter. It's a lot of pressure to put on a leadoff guy. You're used to that guy being the 3 or the 4-hole hitter, one of the big guys in the middle driving it in. You're not used to it being the guy hitting leadoff for your team.
2-2 on Carpenter. 11 hits in his last 18 at bats. 1 for 3 in last night's game.
It's always the first inning for pitchers. You know, you've got to get the holes dug out, not only in front of the rubber where you push off, but where you land. You can see a little trouble there. Fried's going to look back, and you wonder why starters have trouble in the first inning. That's one of the reasons right there, getting your alignment set up.
Payoff pitch to Carpenter, and he lines out. Batting against the shift, Albies makes the catch, 1 away.
Wasn't that why you get 8 warm-up pitches? Isn't that the whole point, to try to figure out your lines and try to... Good swing by Carpenter, great at bat, just lined it right at Ozzie Albies. Defensive shift, semi-shift right there. That's normally a hit, but with the new metrics and the defense, it's an out.
So with 1 away, here's Tommy Pham. No hits in his last 26 at bats. Whew. He did walk twice in last night's game.
Bad 8 games right there. Bad feeling as a hitter.
He was quoted in the paper as talking about he was working on mechanics. He feels like he's got a little flaw in his mechanics, but as most hitters say, he thinks he's close.
Ball's behind, 1-2.
You're always close as a hitter. The problem is you're also close to not getting a hit. So when you come out, and the hardest thing about being a big league hitter and an everyday player is fooling yourself when you're 0 for 25 you can still hit.
The 1-2 from Fried. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. So Pham now 0 for his last 27. Now 2 away. Defensively for the Braves, it's brought to you by Bright House Financial, established by MetLife. Acuna, Inciarte, Markakis from left to right. In the outfield, Freeman, Albies, Swanson, Camargo, the battery of Fried and Suzuki. Two away, here's Jose Martinez. Martinez, 9th in the National League in both batting average at .301 and runs batted in with 51.
This guy's really come out of nowhere for the Cardinals. They weren't counting on him. In spring training, he got hot. He just stayed hot, and they weren't counting on him being their everyday first baseman. But he's hit his way into the lineup. And originally, Matt Carpenter was kind of supposed to bounce around and play first a lot, but Jose Martinez has taken the job and won't give it back.
Great view there of what it's like to be a major league hitter in a day game. A lot of white t-shirts out there, a lot of glare.
Max Fried retires the Cardinals in order in the bottom of the first. What a season for Nick Markakis. He will lead things off for Atlanta when we return. Budweiser takes them out to the ball game. Top of the second inning in St. Louis. Both teams retired in order in the first. Kenny Albert, David Cohn, A.J. Przinsky from Busch Stadium as Nick Markakis steps in against Luke Weaver. Markakis 0 for 3 in last night's game, drove in a run. His 13th major league season, 9 years in Baltimore, now 4 in Atlanta. And what a season it's been.
You have to almost go back to his early years to come up with comparable numbers that he's throwing up this year.
Markakis drills this one deep right field, back on the track. It's off the wall, picked up by Bader. It's a stand-up double for Nick Markakis.
Just a rocket off the bat of Nick Markakis. Bader does everything he can, tough out there with the sun, jumps, just misses it, bangs off the wall, makes a good throw to make it close, but that's sun in right field. St. Louis is known for a tough sun field in right. See the glasses and the glare. Nice try, but just short. Markakis trying not to make the All-Star team by slipping on second base. Hurting an ankle there. Careful out there, Nick.
For Markakis, his league-leading 103rd hit of the season. So the Braves with a runner in scoring position with nobody out for catcher Kurt Suzuki. First pitch, right field. Bader is there. Markakis tags. And he is in safely at third.
The Braves aren't messing around. Their first pitch, second pitch, they're up there hacking. Something in their scouting report said, hey, don't mess around with Luke Weaver. Let's get him early, because so far 3 of the first 5 guys have swung at the first pitch, and 1 guy swung at the second pitch and hit a double. So Kevin Seitzer must have seen something that said swing early, boys.
Well, you look at the numbers this season coming into this game. 20 of the 45 runs Weaver has allowed. That's 44% have come in the first 2 innings. Infield in with 1 out. And a runner at third for Ronald Acuna Jr., who returned from the disabled list on Thursday after missing 28 games.
So Coney, as a pitcher, why is it the first couple innings?
Part of it's emotional, nerves. Part of it is just getting the rough edges worn off, finding the strike zone. What is the umpire calling? You know, even though we have a universal strike zone, every umpire has their own interpretation. Just kind of getting settled in. Part of it is just a human element.
The 2-0 to the 20-year-old Acuna. Ball 3.
I always wondered that as a catcher, because you would have guys that had just the hardest time in the first inning, and you would take them and change their routine coming out of the bullpen. You'd have them warm up and sit and try to act like they're on the road or the second inning. So I was always wondering why that was that way with all pitchers.
Center field, Pham back on the track. He looks up. It's gone. A 2-run home run. Ronald Acuna Jr., his 6th of the season. The Braves take a 2-0 lead. Acuna takes Weaver deep on a 3-0 pitch, 405 feet.
This is what you're supposed to do with the 3-0 pitch. 20-year-old. Out over the plate, fastball, a little bit up, easy power. Dead center field. That's how you hit a 3-0 pitch right there, Kenny. Tommy Pham just short.
1-1 to Johan Camargo. And he lines out to Carpenter for out number 2.
You know, AJ, sometimes for a starting pitcher, you wait all week to pitch, and you come out and you think you have to be perfect, and then you fall behind 3-0. And we've seen that, and that's what Matheny told us about Weaver too before the game. And it's not that much different in AAA to the big leagues. You think you have to make perfect pitches because you're in the big leagues, and you lose a little bit of that aggressiveness.
Well, how much of that has to do with the fact that there was a runner on third, the infield was in, it's a second inning, and Kirk Suzuki will get no credit for this other than us telling that him getting Markakis to third with 1 out changed everything for the pitcher and for the defense, because, hey, we got to bring the infield in. We don't want him to score. And Weaver, instead of going right after Acuna, is nibbling 3-0. Bam, homer.
That's a big part of it. Great point. Situational.
I mean, that goes down as an 0 for 1 for Suzuki, but his teammates are all in there giving him a high five and saying, hey, that's half your RBI, because you know what? You made him, you put the pressure on the Cardinals to make a move in Weaver, and he obviously faltered and gave up a homer.
The 0-2 to Dansby Swanson. He fouls it back to the screen. Swanson tied his career high with 3 hits in last night's game. The 0-2 from Weaver. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You know, both of these pitchers are #1 drafts, former #1 picks. One by route of high school, one by route of college.
Weaver out of Florida State, 27th overall back in 2014. As Swanson flies out to Pham, but the Braves score 2. Markakis leadoff double, and then Acuna takes Weaver deep, middle of the second. 2-0 Atlanta. Season for the Atlanta Braves. Their starters, second in earned run average. How about Mike Foltynewicz? He's third in the league in ERA, and all-star candidates everywhere you look, up and down this Atlanta Braves roster. And tomorrow's scheduled starter joins us from the Braves dugout as Marcell Ozuna steps in to lead off for the Cardinals. First of all, Mike, thanks for giving us a couple of minutes. How much do you miss pitching to A.J. Pierzynski?
Thanks for having me, first off, but I miss him. He's a big target back there, blocking all those balls. Great pitch caller. No, we loved him, especially in the clubhouse. Just a great dude to have around, and just I brought a smile to my face when I saw him yesterday, and then so yeah, we go from there. But I just love having him back there, and it looks like he's having fun now, though.
Well, now you can tell us the truth, Mike. How do you really feel?
No, we won't go there right now, though.
Thanks, Folty. That 50 I slipped you earlier really paid off. So thanks. Well, you were more happy to see my son Austin than you were me. Like I think all the Braves and all the Cardinals were. So I appreciate the way you guys took care of him, first of all, and then I'm glad he didn't take you out in the outfield that time when he swept the leg on you.
Oh man, no!
You guys both almost died shagging one day.
We had fun out there, but yeah, one day we put this little game. If you catch it, you get a point basically, and we just both went after this one ball. He undercut me, and I was just praying to myself. I'm like, oh no, Austin, please don't cry right now. Your dad's gonna kill me. It's like we go inside, and then the first thing right when we got inside from BP, Austin goes up to AJ and says, hey Dad, me and Folty just crushed each other out in the outfield. I'm like, oh no, I just can't be saying that, but yeah, Austin was a joy to have around us. Like I hope my little dude gets to have just as much fun as he was in the clubhouse.
Well, Folty, you're obviously having a great season. I mean, third in the league in ERA, but I remember when I caught you, you had more of a turn, like a twist and a turn in your motion.
Yeah.
And it kind of coincides with your success. You always had the big arm, the big stuff. So, one, was it a change in pitching coaches, Chuck Hernandez, Roger McDowell to Chuck Hernandez? Mm-hmm. I remember you did the turn as deception. Does that coincide? Is that kind of the key that's helped you get to where you are now?
A little bit, I think so, because when I had that big turn, it all started with my left foot. I had a big backdrop, so my eyes would move from the angle, from the catching target, and so this little motion, I'm basically not stepping as far back as I was. I'm just kind of getting that little drop, so I can get up over the rubber quicker and then go downhill. So we're not trying to do no turn, or here we go. Do no turn or big leg drop, so we don't have to.
Nice catch.
Big leg drop, so my eyesight is right at the catcher's target the whole time instead of kind of going all over the place.
Okay, and you've quit throwing your curveball as much. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, we're kind of going more to the slider a little bit this year. I'm just have confidence in that pitch. Ever since I started throwing again in 2015. Just like, me and AJ, I just couldn't get that slider over 84, 85 miles an hour, and now we're just throwing it harder. We're throwing it with confidence and conviction and just getting guys out in a certain situation. So it's, it's a big pitch for me this year, and we kind of got that curveball in the back pocket. I mean, I got great confidence in my curveball as well. We're not throwing it as much as, we need to. We got a good game plan going, with Kurt or Flo, and, we throw it when needed.
Now 2 away as Max Fried strikes out Jed Jerko. Tell us a little bit about your teammate, Max Fried, 24-year-old left-hander making his second start this season, 6th in his career.
Sure. Yeah, he's a young dude, lefty, throws hard. He's got a hammer. I don't know if you remember AJ, if you caught him or not, but
I missed him by just a couple weeks, Folty.
Yeah, just a great curveball there, and yeah, he's one of them dudes that we got a great bunch of arms down in the minors, and he gets to showcase his stuff here, and he's been doing great so far in the minors, and when he gets up here, he gets a chance, he throws the ball well.
Molina, the runner on first, 2 outs.
Well, Folty, you're the veteran on that staff now. With Fried and Newcomb, Julio and you guys are the veterans.
No, yeah, me and Julio, this is only my, 3rd or 4th year here with the Braves, and Julio's been around, and he's only 26, 27, but yeah, it's just great getting to see Julio again this year, and Nuke's come a long ways. You got Anibal Sanchez over here that's been there, done that, and it's just a great time. We had McCarthy that's been here, that's been helping us out a lot, just with the mental standpoint and just going about the game. So we got a lot of fun dudes here, but I don't know about the veteran stuff yet.
Well, you guys all seem to get along. Obviously, one thing, you're together 162 games for basically 8 months, more with your family than your teammates and your family. So you guys all get along great, and I think that helps. You see it. You see the smiles on your faces.
No, I think it's huge, especially. We started spring training just everyone came in with a smile on their face. We got some additions, that came in with smiles on their face, and we just came ready to go early. And I think that's a big part of the game, is just having that good chemistry with your team. Because like you said, AJ, 162 days. Even on some of the off days, you're with them guys, and it's a big family. If you guys don't get along, it's going to be a long season. But we're having fun. You can see it. You probably saw it, AJ, just being in the clubhouse there a couple minutes. It's just it's a different vibe in there this year. We're just all up, we're happy. We're having a good time. So then you can see it.
Now, speaking of family, is this true, Mike? I read somewhere that your parents developed elbow issues because they threw you too much BP when you were a kid.
It was almost. We saw this one family. They had a tennis racket and a tennis ball, and the dad would just hit it as high as he could, basically pop-ups. And that's what my dad started to do. And over the past, few years, he started getting the tennis elbow, which basically, that's what the doctor, described it as, just too much playing tennis, basically. He's like, I don't play tennis. I just hit my ball. My son balls up in the air with a tennis racket. He's like, there you go.
They couldn't have heard it throwing a BP because you're a terrible hitter.
Yes, very. AJ, I wish you would have seen me in high school, man. No, but yeah, that's I wish I could hit the ball too, man. It's just, that's another thing, is that when I get in the box and you see 95, 96, 97, 98, it's hard to hit up there. So I kind of take that into when I'm pitching and just be aggressive in the zone, because it's very hard to hit that dang ball.
Well, your first at bat, you hit a double, didn't you, with the bases loaded?
I did, and I don't know what happened.
I remember we all thought, man, this guy can hit, and then like 0 for 50 later with 40 strikeouts, we're like, maybe not.
Yeah, I think I had like 3 or 4 RBIs in like my first 2 starts or something like that, and everyone was getting excited, and then it slowly went downhill. I focused more on getting the bunts down, and the hit would come.
Base hit up the middle for Bader, and Molina is in at third. So runners on the corners. Cardinals threatening here in the second inning.
Well, Folty, I think you deserve to be in Washington, D.C. for the All-Star game. What would it mean to you to represent the Braves, your family?
I appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, that'd be something awesome. Something you dream as a kid, but right now, I'm just trying to focus on.
Oh, come on, come on, no stock answers
and all that. No, but yeah, it's something you work for it, definitely, and just to have that by your name, it would be something pretty cool, and that's what you're also notice all the dudes that have been an all-star, like you said, on this team, would be pretty special, and just make my parents proud, and yeah, it's just I don't even know how to describe it. Like you said, it's something that you really don't think about until it really comes. But yeah, I'm just trying to, like I said, focus on every start, and then when that time comes and all that fun stuff, we'll worry about that. But we also got a bunch of dudes on this team that's deserving as well. So it's fun time to be a Brave.
Folty, how hard would you throw if you had 1 inning and could air it out? You can hit 100 as a starter. So
yeah,
could you go 102 in that game?
I don't know about that. I'll probably maybe get a couple hundreds in there, because like you said, it'd be kind of a big situation. Maybe getting in the All-Star game, like you said, it's home field advantage stuff, so be a little bit more nervous. But I definitely try to rear back and throw a couple. So say you
come in, you make the All-Star team, you come in the 3rd inning, and you're facing Stanton or Judge, and they're like, the catcher puts down 1, Buster Posey puts down the 1, and you're like, I'm going to let this thing eat. Yeah. 102?
I think I might have that.
All right.
Might have that.
All right, I'm putting my money down on you.
Especially, it's going to be warm there in Washington, that's for sure.
All right, Mike, thanks for taking a couple of minutes. Continued success.
Thank you very much for having me.
Mike Foltynewicz of the Braves. Munoz down on strikes. Cardinals strand 2 in the second. All-Star balloting ends July 5th. You can vote for your favorite players at MLB.com/vote. Catch all the excitement of the 89th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th. Live on Fox and ESPN Radio. And of course, home field no longer determined by the winner of the All-Star Game. You guys have both been there. David, what was your biggest All-Star Game memory?
1999, Fenway Park. Ted Williams in the middle of the diamond. Just incredible. That's when he looked at Mark McGwire and said, have you ever smelled burnt wood when you foul one straight back? And he just held court. When Ted Williams spoke, you listened.
AJ, how about you?
Well, I was fortunate enough to play in the tie game that made it count for home field advantage. So my memory was in Milwaukee in 2002. Joe Torre, the Yankees were all the coaches, and the game ends in a tie, and I come in and we were out of pitching, and all the fans were chanting "Let them play" like Bad News Bears, and I asked Joe Torre if I could pitch because we were out of pitching. He looked at me and laughed and said, "Ron Gardenhire would kill me if I let you pitch." And I'm like, "I'll give up a home run and we'll go home. At least we'll get an ending." And he literally grabbed me by the throat, and I thought he was going to kill me because I wouldn't go away.
Well, speaking of pitching, Max Fried, the Braves starter, strikes out. One away here in the top of the third. And now Ender Inciarte will step in. Swung at the first pitch, leading off the game, and rounded out to the second baseman, Jed Jerko.
I bet he doesn't swing at the first pitch.
Not this time, huh? He does not.
Well, your pitcher just punched out. It's hot out there. He swung at the first pitch, made an out. He's a leadoff guy. He wants to see more than one pitch this at bat.
Takes the second pitch for a called strike. 1-1. One from Weaver to Inciarte. Now 2-1. Braves scored 2 runs in the second inning. Nick Markakis leadoff double. Moved to third on a flyout. And then Ronald Acuna Jr. with his 6th home run of the season. 2-2. Ozzie Albies waiting on deck. Payoff pitch to Inciarte. Ground ball to the right side. Weaver covering. Inciarte is retired. Nice play by Martinez. Now 2 away.
Well, we know Weaver, that's one of the reasons he took the number 7, because he feels like he's an athlete. And this is a very athletic play. Tough throw to handle. He's there in plenty of time, and he makes this very difficult play look pretty easy. Kind of glides over there, but that throw could have easily gone all the way back down to the catcher.
Hold on, let's go back to the first thing you said. He's wearing a single-digit number. That's a no-no for pitchers, right? Is it not? It just looks funny. I think it looks funny.
Generally speaking, if you're a pitcher, you didn't even ask for a single digit.
Albies with a base hit into right field, and the throw comes in from Bader, not in time. Albies safe at first. Yeah, Weaver told us yesterday, David, as you alluded to, I like to think of myself as more than a pitcher, and that's one of the reasons why he wears the single digit. He's one of only 8 active pitchers in the major leagues to wear a single digit on his uniform.
I get Ottavino, right? The O looks like an O. He's got double O's in his name, but Clayton Richard, I think, wore 3 at Michigan. He was a quarterback. Blake Snell, I don't get. Carl Edwards, I don't get. Stroman, you told me it was the 6 is the name for Toronto, so okay. Urias, I don't get. Mike Leake, I just don't get it. I don't understand, Coney. Preach to me.
Well, a lot of times, you know, when you break into Major League Spring Training for the first time, you get one of those really high numbers in the 60s or 70s or 80s. So you're dying just to get a legitimate number. But if you're going to take a single-digit number, and I know it's a different game now, pretty close snap throw to first there by Weaver, who's obviously a very good athlete. You know, you better back it up. If you're going to go out there and have a single-digit number, you know, Marcus Stroman's pitched pretty well in Toronto.
Ottavino's been one of the best relievers. Leake's had a nice run.
David, one of the teams you pitched for, they have no single-digit numbers available.
Yeah, there's none left.
You mean when you went to the Yankees, you didn't ask for 3?
I took what they gave me when I went to the Yankees.
You didn't take you didn't ask for number 3, Babe Ruth?
They actually gave me number 36. I didn't ask, and it was the pitching coach, the late great Billy Connors, who just passed away. It was his number, and he had just been fired before I got there. They actually just gave me his jersey.
Did they wash it?
The number rode up a little high. Billy was a big guy, so it didn't really fit me. And if you go back to 1995 and you see me wearing number 36, my number's a little higher on my back than everybody else's.
And is that the jersey threw a perfect game? Obviously, that's not the jersey you threw the perfect game in.
No,
correct?
I ended up getting one that actually fit me.
That would have been a better. That would have been a better story, like David Wells wearing the Babe Ruth hat, you wearing the Billy Connors jersey.
Against the shift, Freddie Freeman with a base hit into left center. Albies in at third.
This swing right here is why Freddie Freeman is my leader for National League MVP right now. Just a magic wand, ball way off the plate away. He knows there's nobody on the left side. Freddie Freeman does this better than most power hitters that I've seen in baseball. He just reach out, take what the pitcher gives him, and he'll take his single to left. He'll accept that. Instead of trying to get big and has to hit a home run, just accept your single to left and move on.
For Freeman, his 99th hit of the season. Second in the National League behind his teammate Markakis, who is at the plate now. Nick with 103 base hits following his second inning double.
You think about the career Freddie Freeman's already had. He's just 28 years old, but already, you know, 8+ years in the big leagues. Just remarkable. Got a career 879 OPS.
He's got a chance to be a pretty good player.
You know, on base plus slugging. He does it all. His triple slash line this year, just incredible. 317, 408, and 554.
I mean, that's his National League MVP. If he stays healthy the rest of the way and the Braves stay where they're at, there's nobody else out there that I don't believe that can compete with him, and he should win the award this year. And if you remember last year, he was on the same kind of pace. The Braves weren't as good as a team, but he was on the same pace before he got hit by a pitch and broke his wrist. So this is 2 years in a row for him doing this. But I want to know what his WAR is. We show all these stats. What's his WAR?
His WAR has been very good because he's that kind of a player.
Exactly.
He does so many things in the batter's box and gets on base, hits for power. Complete package offensively.
And he can run too. Don't let him fool you. We used to call him Fast Freddy because he's got these really long legs and he'll get going. And once he gets going, he can move. Good defender.
The 1-2 from Weaver. Markakis down on strikes. Third strikeout for Luke Weaver. Braves strand 2 in the third. Continues on Fox. Isco and Spain face off with Russia at 9 a.m. Eastern. Then Croatia battles Denmark at 2 p.m. Eastern. Catch all the action on Fox or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. 2-0 Braves, bottom of the third in St. Louis. Luke Weaver gets the bat on it, and it drops in for a base hit in front of Nick Markakis. He told us he's an athlete. 5th hit of the season and 26 at bats for Weaver.
Gotta love pitchers getting hits, Coney.
Very respectable numbers. And the best thing you can do as a pitcher is swing early. Look for something hard in the heart of the plate and start it early, and you can see he kind of inside outs that. Almost hitterish.
Yeah, that was a pretty good swing for for anybody. Forget a pitcher. I thought Markakis was going to go Harrison Bader right there and try to throw him out at first for a second. You don't see guys in right field try to throw a position player out at first very often.
So Weaver out at first. Here's Matt Carpenter. Weaver is from DeLand, Florida. Same hometown as Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets. Those are the two starting pitchers Max Fried has gone up against this season. His first start was against deGrom, and now Weaver here tonight.
And Chipper Jones is from DeLand, Florida also, I believe. Going into the Hall of Fame this year.
Well, Fried from the other side, the other coast. Outside of LA, Harvard Westlake High School. We mentioned back in 2012 he was the first round pick of the Padres, 7th pick overall.
He underwent Tommy John surgery in 2014, and a couple of months after the operation he was traded to Atlanta in the deal involving Justin Upton. AJ, you were a member of the Braves organization at the time when they acquired Max Fried.
I was, and I remember hearing about him when they made the move for Upton and getting Fried and the potential that he had. Teams are not scared away by Tommy John anymore. They used to be like, oh no, this guy has arm problems, but heck, almost every trade nowadays with a pitcher involves a guy that either has had Tommy John or is coming off Tommy John or is going to have Tommy John.
It's a plus. It's out of the way.
Carpenter down on strikes, one away.
I think you're right, Coney. Some organizations look at it like that. Hey, he's already had it, so he already lost his year, so now he's just coming back stronger. Because a lot of guys now, with the rehab and with the technology and the science, they've actually get stronger and throw harder after Tommy John.
Max Fried missed most of the 2014 season, all of 2015. Said he missed the competition, refound his love for the sport. He was telling us, growing up in the LA area, he attended the Reggie Smith Baseball Academy from the age of 5. He was around many former major leaguers, including our colleague Eric Karros, who would stop by the academy.
What do you say? All the Dodgers, right, would come in when they were in slumps. So Eric Karros, he said, was there all the time. So I don't know if EK was in a lot of slumps or what.
Well, Reggie Smith is the real deal. I mean, he's so widely respected. One of the best hitting coaches.
Spent 3 years here in St. Louis with the Cardinals back in the mid-70s. On one hop, Swanson to second, on to first. Safe at first is Pham.
Another look on the replay, AJ. I thought for a minute there that you might want to take another look at that. And they are, indeed. It looked to me like he got him on the back. Freddie Freeman. Excellent play with a slap tag on the back.
Tough angle for the first base umpire there, Gabe Morales, but with all the angles our camera crew can get, you can clearly see he tags him before he gets the base. And a lot of times players stick their hand up like Freddie Freeman did and say replay, replay, and they're wrong, but this time I believe he's right.
So it appears to be a double play, 6-4-3.
Jose Martinez believes he's out because he already went from home plate into the dugout taking his helmet off. So
It is a double play. So the inning comes to an end. Still 2-0 Atlanta. LG G7 Thin Q. What's it gonna take? And by Infinity, empower the drive. Top of the fourth in St. Louis. Braves won series opener last night 5-1. Atlanta with a 2-0 lead over the Cardinals here tonight. 2-run shot in the second inning off the bat of Ronald Acuna Jr. 11th home run allowed this season by Luke Weaver. We mentioned all 4 of Weaver's wins have come on the road this season. He has not received much run support here at home, under 3 runs per 9 innings, but on the road, his teammates score over 7 runs per 9 innings.
It's the old Bert Blyleven theory. It's not how you pitch so much, it's what day you pitch on.
Kurt Suzuki leads off for the Braves, takes a called strike. Fly to right back in the second inning, but he moved Markakis over to third, and he would come around to score on the Acuna long ball.
Very good at bat by Kirk Suzuki to get Markakis to third with less than 2 outs. A stat that's not really factored in anywhere in baseball, but somehow, some way should be factored in.
They'll find a way one of these days.
They'll find a metric. They'll get a metric or a saber metric or an analyst to figure out how to add that to the box score.
You know, Suzuki's been part of this magic too. I mean, he has got a career 702 OPS, and this year almost a career year, like 842 so far in the first half, as we creep right up on the halfway point of the major league season.
Well, him and Tyler Flowers both have been outstanding for the Braves defensively and offensively.
If you can get average or better production at every position, well, you've got a pretty good team. And then you throw in some of the rookies or somebody like a Freddie Freeman, then you understand how they are leading their division right now.
Braves second in the league in batting average, first in runs scored, first in doubles, eighth in home runs. And as Brian Snitker told us, we were worried about the offense, but it's been a lot better than we expected.
It's always, you know, AJ, do you believe what you see the first half? Now, do we go out and add? Are we ready?
Carpenter charging. Throws out Suzuki. One away as we check in with Mike Hill in the studio for a game break. Mike. Wow, thanks, Mike. How about that?
Pitchers can hit. At least some of them can.
Few and far between nowadays.
3 home runs in his last 3 at-bats. Second pitcher since 1974 to do it. The last was Mike Hampton 17 years ago.
I'm surprised somebody's done that before as a pitcher. I would have thought he would have been the first one.
One and one on Acuna, who went deep in the second inning. Acuna down on strikes. So Weaver wins the battle this time. 2 away.
You know, Weaver's starting to settle in. 95 miles an hour, even though he misses his target. Molina wants it in, it ends up away. Got some good riding life on that 95-mile-an-hour four-seamer.
So 2 outs. Nobody on. Here's Camargo. Line down to the third baseman Carpenter, his first time up.
Tony, watching Camargo hit here, he is a carbon copy of Robinson Cano. The way he stands, the gum, the elbow guard, the bat waggle, everything.
Popped up to the left side. Carpenter in foul territory makes the catch. So the Braves are retired in order in the 4th. Afternoon and return to St. Louis July 13th for a 3-game series against the Reds. You can get tickets now at Cardinals.com to see Molina, Ozuna, and Martinez right here at Busch Stadium. Speaking of Jose Martinez, he leads off here in the bottom of the 4th inning against Max Fried. Ground ball to the second baseman, Albies. 1 away.
Fried kind of cruising along here. Really, AJ, he's got a true hook. A lot of times we talk about breaking balls, and to me, it's when you throw your curveball like he does, it's more of a 12-6 or even maybe a little bit of side-to-side movement, but it's in the mid-70s. He tried to pattern it after Sandy Koufax growing up in L.A. His father was a Dodgers fan. I'm not saying he has Sandy Koufax's curveball, but you could see this is more of a true curveball.
First pitch to Ozuna, missing away.
Well, if you could get Sandy Koufax curveball, I'm all for it.
It's not a bad guy to emulate.
No. If you're going to pick someone, I would probably pick him. But Fried's basically a 2-pitch pitcher, so he has to have command of the curveball. And talking to him yesterday, he said, hey, it's always been a pitch I've had the ability to throw at any time, in any count, in any situation, and get a strike or throw it low or wherever he needs it.
That's the third pitch there, the changeup. That could be the difference maker for Fried, whether he's going to eventually stay in the rotation or be a reliever.
But to me, that's an interesting pitch call right there. 2-0 count, you're up 2-0, you're kind of cruising. You throw your third best pitch, 2-0, to fall behind 3-0, and then Ozuna basically gets a free swing right there, 3-0. But that's an odd. If you're going to throw an off-speed pitch there, wouldn't you want to throw your second best pitch or your main off-speed pitch for Fried would be his curveball?
If you're going off-speed, you got to get it in the strike zone. You're right, because you don't want to fall down 3-0.
And now the 3-1 from Fried. Now back to the screen, full count.
I've seen more hitters swing 3-0 this year, I think, than I've seen in the last several years.
Well, it's one of the few counts that pitchers can be pretty predictable, because the way the game has gone now is any pitch is a crazy pitch.
Payoff pitch to Ozuna. So after falling behind 3-0, Fried comes back to strike out. Ozuna, his 6th strikeout of the night.
Well, this shows us how dumb you and I are, Coney. He goes 2-0 changeup. You go 3-0, gets back in the count. Here's the curveball we talked about. Just a true 12-6 down, and Suzuki, nice job blocking it up, but really nice tight curveball.
Almost 20 miles an hour differential between his best fastball and his curveball.
And Yachty's swinging early. He doesn't want to get to the curveball, so he's up there hacking. First at bat on the second pitch, he hit a single, and now this at bat, first pitch, hacking again.
AJ, you were a Cardinal back in the 2014 season. What'd you learn about Yachty Molina that you didn't know before?
Just his preparation for the games. He was on the DL when I first came over, and he got activated in August sometime, and just the way he prepared, he really taught me how to prepare. I come up and kind of did it a different way, but then watching him and learning from him how to get ready for a game.
And you were late in your career at that point,
absolutely.
But he taught you how to prepare.
Just meaning like scouting report wise and what he looked for, because everyone looks at something different. I was always like a visual as we watch Max Fried fall down and prepare the mound. Maybe it's his spikes.
He's looking at the hole again.
It's the 4th inning. He hasn't got his hole quite right yet, but
that could be a good trick pitch. Throw the changeup off of that and fall down and knock your hat off.
That's right. But Yachty did more video scouting, and I always was like a visual reader. Like I had to read it and I would write it down and that kind of thing. And then with Yachty, he showed me how to use the video and the technology and take that into the game, and it carried over into my last few years with Atlanta.
Molina draws a 2-out walk. Today, Molina playing in his 1800th game as a St. Louis Cardinal. He's the 5th player in Cardinals history to reach 1800.
It's Cardinal royalty, without a doubt. He'll be in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. He's earned it.
He's going to be in the big Hall of Fame in Cooperstown at some point.
He's made a strong case for that as well. The problem with the holes, AJ, is that they get bigger as the game goes along, and the texture of the clay and the dirt on the mound is different in every ballpark. This seems to be pretty smooth, a pretty good combination of clay in there. But the holes progressively throughout the course of a game can really change.
Usually you see this when it's wet. So Roger McDowell, who was our pitching coach with the Braves, watched Fried slip and fall a couple times. Roger McDowell used to say, if you're having a hard time with your spikes, especially in the rain, don't leave the dirt. Because when you walk in the grass, it makes your cleats wet, and then you get back on the dirt and it picks up the mud. So stay on the dirt.
Bottom of the 4th comes to an end here in St. Louis. Fried sailing along. Braves with a 2-0 advantage. Against the Blue Jays and D-backs. Visit Braves.com to get your tickets to see Freeman, Markakis, and Albies at SunTrust Park. Either of you ever venture up to the top of the arch?
I've been twice. Yeah. We went today, my son and I. The line was 3 hours, so we didn't do it today, but I've been up there twice. Tony, you ever been up there?
No. Heights are not my thing.
Then don't go up there. It's high, and there's a little window about, I don't know, a foot by a foot that you can look out. It's a great view, but if you're afraid of heights, I wouldn't recommend it. Or claustrophobia.
But you did let the guys carry you off on their shoulders following your perfect game.
That was high enough. As far as I want to go.
Back in July of '99.
Coming up on 20 years, Kenny. Incredible. That's how long it's been.
Yogi Berra Day, right?
Yes.
David Wells the year before.
David Wells in 98. Don Larson in 56. He's the world, you know, of all the perfect games thrown, he's the godfather because he did it in the World Series.
And Don Larson and David Wells from the same hometown. Same high school, right?
Same high school. What are the odds of that? Point Loma High School in San Diego.
Swanson down on strikes. So you pitched one, and AJ, you caught one.
That's right. Kenny, you were supposed to do that game Philip Humber threw in Seattle, but hockey got in the way. So we had Dave Sims and Eric Karros, our pal, and
they did a terrific job as always.
They did.
In Seattle, Philip Humber.
Probably the most unlikely perfect game pitcher of all time.
Controversial final pitch, right? How about this? First career base hit for Max Fried. So both pitchers with a hit in tonight's game.
Right back at you.
Weaver had a little better swing than Fried had, but he's still going to get the ball. And Weaver threw it to the wrong dugout. He threw the ball to the wrong side. Fried's like, wait, that's my ball. I want that ball.
I think he did that on purpose. Just to
Weaver, well, if you saw Weaver, he wasn't happy. The way he threw it, he wasn't happy about it. So I don't know. I don't want to say he did that.
Well, he
on purpose.
wouldn't know it was Fried's first hit, right?
Oh, he knew when they asked for the ball.
He's trolling him.
Just a jam shot down the left field line for Max Fried's first major league hit. Weaver's like, you got to be kidding me.
You're right. He knew.
Oh, why else would they ask for the ball? Pitchers always hate, right? They always hate giving up hits to other pitchers because they, especially in the National League, they just assume that's an out.
Well, in the National League, yeah, your mentality is I'm going to be better than the other pitcher that day, whether that's get down a bunt or not let him get a hit.
Fried had been 0 for 10 in his career prior to that at bat. We talked about Weaver and his athleticism. Fried played basketball through his junior year in high school. He played some football. You mentioned Harvard Westlake. They produced a number of professional athletes in various sports. In fact, two of Fried's high school teammates are major leaguers. Jack Flaherty of the Cardinals and Lucas Giolito of the White Sox. They all played together in high school.
I hope they won the state championship. Pretty darn good team right there.
There's Flaherty, one of his high school mates. Maybe he was calling for the ball. This one will drop in. Fried to second. So the Braves with 2 on and 1 out here in the 5th.
Well, as happy as the Braves are, they have first and second right now with 1 out in the heart of their order, and Albies and Freeman coming up. With the heat today in St. Louis and pitcher running the bases and a guy getting into the 5th inning and Fried, I know he's a young guy, but sometimes you just want him to get out so he can get back in there and get a Gatorade and take a little breather and get ready to pitch, because he's more important pitching than he is running the bases right now.
89 degrees at 7:30 in the evening here in St. Louis.
Interesting meeting here by the entire infield except for Martinez, the first baseman. Don't know if they're going over the signs here, Coney, or talking about how they're going to try to attack Albies. I guarantee he's going to be aggressive early in the count. The Braves have been that all day off of Weaver, so Albies isn't afraid to go up there and swing early.
And that's another trend we've seen this year as well. You know, after years of working the count, trying to get the starter out of the game to get to the bullpen, now it's come full circle where a lot of hitting coaches are teaching to be aggressive earlier in the count, especially if it's a good pitch. Don't let that first pitch fastball pass.
First pitch into the right field corner, and it bounces over the wall. So Fried comes in to score. Inciarte sent back to third. The Atlanta Braves have taken a 3-0 lead.
Right on cue, Ozzie Albies. We showed the graphic how he swings early and often, third in the National League, and bam, first pitch. Cardinals knew it, we knew it. They just couldn't stop it. Looked like a changeup. Albies got out in front and just hooked it enough to where it bounced up off the warning track into off the railing for a ground rule double. Scores Fried, and more importantly, gets him off the bases.
So Fried helps his own cause with a 1-out single, comes around to score the third Atlanta run. Intentional walk to Freddie Freeman. First and second with Nick Markakis at the plate. Doubled and scored in the second, struck out in the third inning. Career numbers with the bases loaded for Markakis. 3 grand slams. He's 4 of 8 this season. Bases loaded, only 1 out.
This is the ball game right here for me. The way Fried's going, rested Atlanta bullpen, Cardinals struggling to score runs.
And Weaver due up next inning, so obviously Matheny would love to get him through this inning somehow.
Weaver due up third in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Former GM for the Braves, John Hart, when he signed Markakis, there was a few raised eyebrows to a free agent deal. They were in a rebuild process. Why would you sign a veteran outfielder and bring him in? And now he's right in the middle of this rebuild, and this rebuild is early.
The 1-2 from Weaver. Markakis fouls it back.
Well, I'll tell you why he signed him. After playing with Nick for 2 years, and the first 2 years of his contract in the heart and the beginning of that rebuild, this guy is as rock solid of a guy in the clubhouse you'll ever see. I mean, the same every day. Doesn't say hardly anything. Just goes about his job. One of the most professional baseball players I've ever been around. Doesn't get mad, doesn't get high, doesn't get low. Whatever it is, he's ready to go every single day. And professional at bats. I mean, this guy will put an at bat on you in big situations. He's not afraid of the moment. He'll get big hits for you. And he's a great example to especially these younger kids with the Braves on how to be a professional baseball player.
Markakis playing in his 1,920th game today. So if he makes it to Washington for the All-Star game, he would be at the top of this list. Most games played prior to finally playing in your first All-Star game. Ron Fairley currently number 1 in that list. Played in his first All-Star game in 1973.
Well, he deserves it. I told him in the clubhouse, hey, I'm going to push hard for you to get to the All-Star game. And knowing Nick the way he is, he just kind of smiled at me and blew me off. But this guy deserves to be an All-Star. He deserves to be in D.C. He lives up there in the D.C. area, having played in Baltimore for a long time. And it would mean something to him. He won't admit it out loud, but it would mean something to him to go to the All-Star game.
Currently leading the National League outfielders in All-Star votes. Closing in on 2 million votes.
Looks like once again the fans are doing a pretty good job at that point.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat from Luke Weaver with the bases loaded. And Markakis drills this one to deep right field. Grand slam home run. 7-0 Atlanta. Fourth career grand slam for Nick Markakis, and the 4th hit by an Atlanta Brave this season.
You just see the reaction to him, AJ, on the bench after that salami.
Well, we said the game was on the line with him hitting the grand slam. 7-0 Braves. Hush over the crowd. They were excited. It went to 3-2. They thought they'd get out of the inning, and bam. Nick Markakis making a huge statement for the All-Star game and a huge statement for the Atlanta Braves with one swing.
Now 2-1. Kurt Suzuki at the plate. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
You know, Matheny choosing to try to push Weaver through this inning, due up next inning, just now getting the bullpen going. A little too late.
It's Mike Maddox, Cardinals pitching coach, along with manager Mike Matheny.
Well, it was quite an at-bat, and tries the curveball, gets it down, changeup away, gets the call. Another changeup down, jumps up 1-2. Markakis starts battling here. Fastballs. Another changeup, keeps battling. Spits on the high fastball. Takes the ball in, and then gets a changeup on the inside corner. A real mistake. And Markakis just got his bat speeded up. Just a high quality at bat there, just like you were describing, AJ. A professional at bat on a young pitcher.
Seven runs, 8 hits for the Braves. No runs, only 3 hits for the St. Louis Cardinals. If Weaver retired the pitcher Fried, it would have been 2 outs, no base runners. He looked frustrated after giving up that hit. First of Fried's career.
Yeah, and that was kind of a broken bat job that just stayed fair. There was another blooper in that inning. It's always the bloop before the blast. And so a little bit unlucky from Weaver this inning, and then Markakis made him pay.
A 1-2 to Acuna. Pass to diving Carpenter down the left field line. Acuna stumbling, but he is in at second with the 5th hit of the inning for the Atlanta Braves.
Another extra base hit for the Atlanta Braves. Another kid coming up with a huge hit, big hit, extra bases. You talked about the 2 bloops, but Albies is the one that started the damage. Just a broken back ground ball that gets past Carpenter right here. Sneaks down the line for a double. Careful now. Careful, you hurt your knee once at first. Let's take it easy. The Braves all held their breath right there when he started fumbling and bumbling around first, but Albies is the one that started the damage. Remember, the Cardinals went out, had a meeting, said, hey, this guy's going to swing first pitch. Weaver went out, hung a changeup, double, ground rule double, led to the intentional walk of Freddie Freeman, and the professional hitter Nick Markakis behind him came up, great at bat and a grand slam.
Third at bat through the order, which is kind of the terminology you hear a lot in front offices across baseball now, is that third at bat for starting pitchers. And you could see Weaver trying to work his changeup, but left it up a couple of times, and in particular to Markakis.
Now facing Camargo, ninth batter of the inning for Atlanta. Camargo 0 for 2. Braves with 9 hits, 5 have been for extra bases, 3 doubles, 2 home runs off Weaver. Weaver has thrown 30 pitches here in the 5th inning. Braves have scored 5 runs on 5 base hits.
What's the number, Coney, for a pitcher where it starts getting into that too many in one inning? 30, 35?
You're approaching that level right now, and like a boxer on the ropes. Velocity's down a tick as you see the bullpen backing him up.
John Bravia up and throwing.
I think if I read Mike Matheny's lips right there, he said this is it. Almost 40 pitches this inning. So they're aware of the pitch count this inning by Luke Weaver.
To me, it's kind of dictated too by the National League style, knowing that Weaver was due up next inning third, trying to get him through this inning so he could pinch for or hit for him there to avoid a double switch. And by waiting, the game has gotten away from Matt Matheny, or Mike Matheny rather.
Here's Swanson, who led off the inning and struck out.
So on my scorecard, how do you, I've already run through everybody in one inning, Kenny. How do I go to the next inning or the next line?
I usually go to the next inning and then everything else gets moved over one column.
Okay.
That work for you?
You're the professional, so I'm going off your advice here.
Usually draw an arrow to the next column. Let's see how he does it.
He looks like he's as confused as I am.
Well, the inning will continue as the Braves take an 8-0 lead. 31st run batted in of the season for Dansby Swanson. Here comes Mike Matheny, so that will be all for Luke Weaver. After facing 10 batters in the inning, he's allowed 6 runs. Weaver will exit. 8-0 Braves, top 5.
and 10 as he figures out what to do with the Braves batting around here in the 5th. We talked about the little arrow. It's pretty small. Not sure if you could see it, but there it is.
See, you can see mine. I forgot the arrow. I just drew a little first base right here. Thanks, Kenny, for the advice. I never had that happen during a game.
Very neat, AJ.
So, yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Would you like a crayon?
It'd probably be better. Different colored crayon.
I worked a game with Lou Piniella on Fox, and it was one of his first broadcasts. And after all the years he spent on the field and in the dugout managing, he didn't know how to keep score. So we had sent up from the dugout one of the official lineups sheets that the managers have on the wall in the dugout, and that was perfect for Lou. That's how he kept track of who was up next and who was the last out of the inning. There it is. Just like he was managing.
True, that's what he looked at all those years. For me, a pitcher, it was charting every pitch. We used to actually chart pitches.
I remember those days. Have the pitcher in the dugout with the clipboard and charting.
Chart every single pitch. Make sure you got it right.
How about Max Fried? Comes up with his first career base hit earlier in the inning, and now he has another opportunity in the same inning against a different pitcher, John Brabia. Not this time. So Max Fried goes 1 for 2 in the inning. The Braves score 6, including a Nick Markakis grand slam. 8-0 Atlanta. Middle of the 5th in St. Louis. Selection show on ESPN as the lineups will be announced. Then the T-Mobile Home Run Derby, July 16th. It's all leading up to the can't-miss event of the summer, the MLB All-Star Game, July 17th on Fox. And David, you mentioned earlier your biggest All-Star memory, 1999 in Boston.
That was an incredible moment to see Ted Williams out there in the golf cart. Right to the middle of the diamond. We all gathered around him, you know, like he was a wise man. He was a wise man. Everybody just wanted to touch him, AJ. Just wanted to get close to him. Tony Gwynn, the late great Tony Gwynn right there. Carlton Fisk.
He could hit. Both those guys could really hit, so I'd want to touch those guys too. Get some hits out of them.
And then you pitched your perfect game 5 days later.
5 days later after that outing, Pedro Martinez started that All-Star game and struck out 5 out of 6 batters. And I followed him up, and I couldn't match that, but 5 days later.
Did something Pedro never did, right? Threw a perfect game.
He actually did. He didn't get credit for it. It was 0-0 after 10.
Right. That's right. I guess some of that Ted Williams and All-Star magic rubbed off on you.
Should have walked away right after that game, because it was all downhill after that.
Max Fried pitching with an 8-0 lead. His only major league win back on September 3rd last year at Wrigley. He allowed 1 run in 5 innings in his first major league start. Helping his own cause with a base hit, came around to score, and he strikes out Harrison Bader for out number 1. 7th strikeout for Fried tonight.
Well, Coney, you said it. Ever since kind of the beginning of this game, he's been on cruise control. He's been in complete control of the Cardinals lineup. He's been able to spot his fastball, mixing a curveball, and even throwing some changeups, but there's been no pressure put on him at all by the St. Louis Cardinals tonight.
To the right side, Munoz is retired, quickly 2 away. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Boost Mobile. David, that game you were talking about took place back in 1995. Pedro Martinez retired the first 27 Padres he faced, allowed a leadoff double in the bottom of the 10th inning, and a 1-0 Expos victory over the Padres. Bip Roberts with the line drive double to break up the perfect game.
And because we talked about Luke Weaver not being able to get through the inning, now Brebbia has to get an at-bat to try to save the Cardinals bullpen from more wear and tear. There's no way a guy with 2 career bats coming into this one has his own bats, right? So there's a position player right now in the dugout that's going, man, he just broke one of my good bats.
Curve is in for a called strike 3. 8 strikeouts for Fried. It was his own bat. How about that?
It's good equipment. Good equipment, guys, here in St. Louis.
A 9-pitch 5th inning for Max Fried. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Verizon. Now go mix and match family unlimited plans. Well, Braves fans excited. First place. And an 8-0 lead on the Cardinals here tonight following a 5-1 victory last night. Francisco Pena replaces Yadi Molina behind the plate for the Cardinals. Braves sent 11 batters to the plate in the 5th inning. Inciarte leading things off here in the 6th. Singled in the 5th, came around to score on the Markakis grand slam. Inciarte, Albies, and Freeman. Top of the order for Atlanta. Here in the 6th inning. As this one is driven into the right field corner. It's a fair ball. So a leadoff double for Inciarte here in the 6th. His 2nd hit tonight. As we head to Los Angeles for another game break. Check in with Mike Hill. Mike. All right, Mike. This should be a battle right down to the wire, David.
Sure should. Both teams, from a historical standpoint, at this point in the season with that kind of record, you got to go back to, I think, 1939. And that's not that. I think that was the Indians and Yankees in '39, who at this point in the season both had those kind of records, racing for a pennant. I'm not sure we've seen the Red Sox and Yankees this late in the season with that good of a record going at it.
Okay, so who you got? You better say the Yankees, because they might kick you off the Yes Network if you don't.
I think they're both very evenly matched.
Oh, come on.
They really are. I mean, it is a good battle. I give the Yankees the edge because of they're a little stronger offensively and their bullpen is better. But I give the Red Sox rotation a little bit of the edge. As you see, Sonny Gray got knocked around today.
You know, AJ, the only time you had an at bat against David, he was wearing a Red Sox uniform.
Yeah, see, he can go. You can go either way. You're like Johnny Damon. You can be a Yankee or a Red Sox, depending on which day it is.
I tended to wear out my welcome wherever I was.
You and me both.
The 0-2 to Albies. Do you remember the at bat, AJ? Probably not.
I know I grounded out because we've had this conversation. He didn't strike me out, so I'm proud of that.
2001.
2000. I was young.
Grounded out to the first baseman Brian Daubach, 3 unassisted.
He didn't have to cover. You know, at Coney's advanced age, then towards the end, he might not have been able to get over to first. So that's why Daubach had to take it by himself.
Splitter down and away.
Absolutely.
Red Sox at the Twins, May 17th, 2001.
I was trying to hit it down the right field line, in the turf in the old Metrodome, try and get a triple out of it. So Dauber, I'm sure it was a diving play, a bullet. Brian Daubach dove and caught.
What was it like putting that Boston uniform on for the first time after winning multiple championships with the Yankees?
It was surreal. It was a very difficult thing to do, but I was thankful to have the chance because I really fell on my face, with the Yankees in 2000. Really had an unbelievably injury-ridden, horrible year. Just wanted a chance at redemption.
But you did have a big outing in the World Series, right? That year?
I got Piazza out.
Around third, heading home is Inciarte. The throw is cut off. Braves now lead 9-0.
Well, AJ, we've talked about the Cardinals struggling defensively this year, and it's one thing to make errors, but the mental side of not knowing where to throw the ball.
Well, he knew where to throw it. He just didn't throw it very well. First of all, what a piece of hitting by Albies right here. Down in the count. This is a hitter, 8-0. You're like, oh, what am I doing? As you see the throw by Pham to nobody in particular. Allows Albies to go to second, but he was stopping. And then he saw the throw and was like, all right, I can just walk into second and gain an extra 90. But
And now Freeman grounds out to the first baseman. It's not Brian Daubach, but it's Martinez, 3 unassisted.
But as a hitter, right there, Albies a great piece of hitting. You get greedy right there. You're like, you know what? There's a runner on second. We're up 8-0. This game's pretty much in hand. But I want to keep getting hits. I want to drive these guys in. And Freeman right now, he hit a ground ball, moved the guy over, which looks great when you're 9-0. But he's a little frustrated because he's like, I want to get in on the hit parade, and instead of getting him a third, I want to drive that guy in, pad my stats a little bit.
Now Markakis with the infield in. Runner on third, 1 out. Markakis with a grand slam in the last inning. 4th of his career. His 9th home run this season. Broke the game open as the Braves scored 6 runs on 6 hits in the 5th here in St. Louis tonight.
It's just so rare, Kenny, that in today's game, with all the extra pitchers in the bullpen, most teams carry 8 extra pitchers, relievers, that you'd allow the starter in the 5th inning, the 3rd time through the order, to give up 6 runs.
Have to face that many batters in the 5th inning.
And to throw that many pitches in that 1 inning.
You know, obviously after the Markakis grand slam, you know, the whole complexion of that inning changed.
Weaver threw 35 pitches in the 5th inning. AJ, it must be us. The last game we worked together, Yankees had a 10-0 lead on the Angels at one point. 9-0 here tonight.
I blame you, Kenny, because I've done games in between, and they've been smooth sailing. We had a cool 1-0 game in Seattle, 2 hours and 22 minutes, I believe. So I think it's you.
Good point.
Coney and I had a 13-inning game last week in Houston that didn't last this long. Plus, you had a 20-inning game, didn't you, one time here? The Mets?
In this booth with Tim McCarver. It was 0-0 through 18.
Tim start telling Bob Gibson stories?
Same once about 3 times. It was a 2-1 Mets victory over the Cardinals in 20 innings back in April of 2010. Tim had a great line as we have a look at the longtime Cardinals manager, Whitey Herzog. The Mets scored a run in the top of the 19th, and then when the Cardinals tied it, and I said, and the Cardinals tied the score at 1, Tim said, of course they do. And then we moved on to the 20th. Catch is made by Pham. Coming in to score is Albies. It is now 10-0 Atlanta. Sacrifice fly, RBI for Markakis, his 5th of the game and 56th of the season.
And another professional at bat by Markakis. Just gets down in the count, battles, gets a pitch he can handle, and hits a nice tidy sac fly to give him their 10th run.
Another 7-pitch at bat for Markakis, who's just continually gets those professional at bats and works the count. So I got a question for Kenny, AJ. I mean, is there a sport you haven't done that you want to do next? Because I know you covered just, you know, all the sports just about.
One that I did once early on where I felt I had no idea what I was watching was college wrestling. So as far as one that I did that I never had a second opportunity and felt a bit confused, but as far as one that I'd like to do, I've been fortunate to be involved in so many of them. So I'll get back to you on that one. But the most challenging was college wrestling.
That would be a challenge.
We've done the Olympics, correct? Just hockey? Did you do any curling or any downhill skiing?
Mostly hockey, track and field at one Summer Olympics. But I never pitched or caught a perfect game.
I'd like to hear you describe cauliflower ear in a college wrestling match.
Fortunately, I had an excellent analyst who had been a wrestler. Deep left field. Back on the track, Ozuna. Ball got caught up in the padding. So it's a long single for Suzuki. And now he'll be awarded second base.
Well, once the ball gets caught up in the padding,
But what?
it's a ground rule double.
But it's not caught in the padding. It's just sitting there. And he stopped. I mean, if you're Suzuki, you're like, thanks for the extra 90, but he stopped.
I think Suzuki was waiting for the call, but the ruling by the umpire, and according to the grounds rule double.
Yeah, may have got caught up a little bit behind the padding.
Yeah, but he went. Usually they make you stop, but he reached right in and grabbed it. So
that's another extra base hit.
yeah,
That's 7. 5 doubles, 2 home runs. Braves with 10 runs on 13 hits. 7 of the 13 have gone for extra bases. Acuna with a 2-run shot back in the second inning, accounting for the first runs in this game. Two more runs here in the 6th for the Atlanta Braves. Popped up to the right side, foul territory. Martinez, will he have room? He does. So the Braves are retired. They scored 2 more on 3 hits and now lead the Cardinals by 10. St. Louis, baseball night in America. Braves with a 10-0 lead as Greg Garcia pinch hits for Matt Carpenter. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning. You know, we've been focused on the Braves offense, 10 runs, 13 hits, 7 extra base hits. But how about Max Fried? He's pitched to only 3 batters above the minimum over the first 5 innings. Brandon McCarthy was scheduled to start tonight's game, placed on the disabled list. Fried called up, flew in from Charlotte yesterday, making his 6th major league start. He struck out a career high 8 to this point over the first 5 innings. Also picked up his first career base hit, and he scored a run.
Yeah, we heard about his curveball. I mean, you get scouting reports on everybody nowadays. All you do is pull up in the minor league videos. You can see video of him pitching. But the thing that impressed me is not just a good curveball. He's got one he can throw for a strike and one he can strike you out with. So the command of that curveball, AJ, is a real key, and that's a difference maker. Can you get your curveball consistently over, and then can you have a chase one as well, and have a little different break on his chase one?
Well, his fastball command has been impeccable also. So not only his curveball, but talking to Joe Simpson and Chip Carey yesterday, and what they've seen out of Fried is he finally believes, he's been up and down, that he can compete and pitch at this level. And that's a huge thing for young pitchers.
Base hit into left field off the bat of Garcia. Leadoff single here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 4th hit of the game for the Cardinals.
We'll get a look at a little strikeout package from Max Fried, and there you go, AJ, painting that fastball and the curveball for a strikeout, another curve. Big break to here. You see him the variations on the break and the speed, and working off of that high fastball is a good combination. We've seen him mix in his 3rd pitch, a changeup, mostly for show.
Here's Tommy Pham looking to break out of his 0 for 28.
So Tommy Pham 0 for 28. He's up here down 10-0. He's like, please just let me get a hit. Please let me get a hit so I can talk something positive, even though the game has gone completely off the rails. The pitch usage for Max Fried, as we talked about, mostly 4-seam and curveball. The cutter, I didn't know he had a cutter. No one talked about a cutter, but apparently he has one of those too. That's contributed to his strikeout total. And when you're 0 for 28 like Tommy Pham, you look up and you're 1-2 and trying to battle just to get through the at-bat and not punch out again.
Leadoff single for Garcia. Takes his lead off first. 2-2 on Pham. No outs. Bottom of the 6th inning.
There's a kind of an old school feel to a pitcher who's just a fastball curveball guy. We saw some cutters mixed in there, an occasional changeup. To me, I think the point about Max Fried, and he reminds me not so much in terms of how he looks, but there was a Mets pitcher named Sid Fernandez who had the biggest difference between velocity on his fastball and his curveball. Sid used to throw his curve in the upper 60s and his fastball around 90. Max Fried, great separation between top end velocity and low end. Seen him up to 94 on the top end and low 70s with that curveball. You don't see that a lot nowadays. And it is really a true hook.
And from a hitter's perspective, you can't just go up there and sit one speed because of the 95 to 71. It's hard to slow yourself down when you know a guy's throwing that hard. So that's where, as a hitter, if you say you face a guy and everything is hard, you can say, okay, I can gear up for 95 and his slider's 90. I can gear up for that, especially as a starter more than one time through. But when you have such a difference, it just brings so much more into the package as a hitter than just, hey, this guy's throwing 95. Oh, wait, he throws 71 also? So you almost have to pick one, and nobody can hit a good curveball. So you don't go up there looking for the curveball, and if he is able to throw it for a strike the way he has all night, it really makes it tough for a hitter.
Came into this inning, came into this inning in pretty good shape with his pitch count, but now first and second, nobody out here in the sixth. Interesting to see that Braves bullpen gets going here.
Has thrown more than 14 pitches in an inning only once, back in the second when he allowed 2 base hits. So 2 on, nobody out. Here's Martinez. 0 for 2 tonight against Fried.
We saw Suzuki go out to the mound. I thought that was a good meeting. Young kid out on the mound, only a second start in the big leagues in the year. Hey, it's 10-0, dude. Let's throw some strikes. And you might get a double play ball.
6-4-3. And now Fried has gone 5 2/3, longest outing of his major league career.
Well, you called it, AJ.
Good meeting by Suzuki. Go out there. Hey, I know the 3-hole hitter's up, but guess what? We're up 10-0. Throw a pitch down in the zone. You're 1 pitch away from being out of the inning, and boom, 6-4-3. And Fried likes it. Take a deep breath and realize, hey, I'm up 10 runs. I also love the little graphic we showed. Mound visits remaining 5. I haven't yet to see that come into play. Has anyone seen that come into play yet the whole year?
No.
Ozuna takes strike 1. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
I think the only way I've seen it come into play is when you see some catchers that want to go visit and they avoid it early in the game, at least early in the season. Maybe it's been a bit of a deterrent for some catchers who really like to visit the mound a lot.
Pitch number 83 coming up, which will match Fried's major league high. He strikes out Ozuna on 3 pitches. So after allowing 2 base runners, a double play and a strikeout, his 9th of the game. for the Cardinals, who trail the Braves 10-0. Multiple changes in the field for St. Louis as well, as Johan Camargo leads off for Atlanta. He's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. In the last 2 innings, the Braves have scored 8 runs on 9 hits. They've seen 68 pitches in the 5th and 6th innings combined.
Fouling off a lot of pitches too, spoiling some out pitches and forcing Weaver to throw more.
Camargo with a base hit into right field. Camargo extending his hit streak to 7 games with the 14th hit of the night for Atlanta. So Cecil, the new pitcher. Bader moves to left. Martinez moves to right. Jerko moves to first. Wong in the game at second base. Ozuna's out. So aside from all the arrows, AJ, you got that down on your scorecard?
Yeah, I really messed up my scorecard because all these moves and all these things, I originally had people in certain places, and now I have to change it all. So
only Munoz and Pham are at their original positions from the start of the game.
I got a lot of X's and a lot of scribbles now. It was so nice and neat early in the game, and even made it through the long inning, but now.
Well, this is where those colored crayons might come in handy.
We were talking about the long innings by the Braves, and that just doesn't have an effect on this game. It has an effect on tomorrow because now Brebbia is probably down. Weaver obviously is down, but now you have to bring in a guy like Cecil, who's a late inning lefty guy for you. Other guys in the bullpen are scrambling, saying, please don't let the phone ring to make me come in to pitch. So it has an effect for tomorrow's game, which is the finale.
You know, it's a great point, and something that more managers are doing, actually having some of their position players do a few bullpen sessions here and there to be ready for a position player to be used. And, you know, I agree with you, AJ. I think that's something that can really help a team, is have the couple of guys on your bench that can be a designated pitcher.
And a lot of times, when I was playing and a position player would come in to pitch, if you're on the team the position player is pitching for, it lightens up the mood and it gives everyone a laugh. Instead of thinking, oh, we're down 10-0 in the 7th or in the 8th, and we got to get 3 outs, and some pitcher in the bullpen's got to wear the 3 outs. You bring in a position player and let him pitch, and if he has a good inning, man, it fires everybody up and gives everyone a good feeling going to their car instead of, oh, we just got our tails whipped here and nothing good came out of it.
Jerko in foul territory makes the play to retire Swanson for out number 1. Another at bat for Max Fried. He's 1 for 3, first major league hit back in the 5th inning. And again, that was a key point in the game. If Fried were retired, it would have been 2 outs, nobody on. But instead, he singled to left, followed by an Inciarte single, an Albies double, an intentional walk to Freeman, and then a Markakis grand slam. That's how important that base hit was off the bat of Max Fried.
It's a great point. Changed the whole complexion of that inning.
And then he came up again in the 5th inning and grounded out.
Well, Fried was scheduled to pitch in Gwinnett tonight, and instead he gets to St. Louis with McCarthy not being able to go. Has a 10-0 lead here in the 7th inning. He's on his 4th at bat. If you would have told Max Fried he'd be getting 4 at bats in a game, he'd be doing backflips out there to the mound every time.
Against a 3rd different Cardinals pitcher. Cardinals get the out at second. So the lead runner, Camargo, is retired. Time now for Flipping the Switch, sponsored by Boost Mobile.
2 on, nobody out after a mound meeting. Good pitch down here to Martinez to get the easy 6-4-3 double play. And then Ozuna, first pitch curveball. Another curveball. And guess what? You don't like it? Here's another one. Go sit down. Max Fried, nice job. Great meeting. Kirk Suzuki, go out there. Settle down your young pitcher. He listened and got the job done. He flipped the switch, right, Kenny?
Sure did. Inciarte at the plate. Fried on at first. Inciarte with 2 hits tonight. He scored 2 runs. Ball 1, says the crew chief. Down at third base, Jerry Meals. 1-1 on Inciarte. 2 outs. Top of the 7th inning in St. Louis. Braves with a 10-0 lead on the Cardinals. Long run for Pham. He makes the catch. And that will do it for the Braves in the 7th. It is 7th inning stretch time here at Busch. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Wells Fargo, established 1852, reestablished 2018. Saturday evening in St. Louis, Kenny Albert, David Cohn, AJ Pierzynski. There is Danny Santana. He is the new right fielder for the Atlanta Braves, who lead the St. Louis Cardinals 10-0. As Max Fried comes out to pitch the 7th. He has shut out the Cardinals to this point on 4 hits, career high 9 strikeouts, pitching into the 7th for the first time in his major league career. It's his 6th big league start. What's impressed you the most, David, about Max Fried?
Well, his command has been very good, you know, and we had heard that that's the last piece of the puzzle for him. And there has been a lot of debate on whether he's more suited for relief or the rotation.
Facing Francisco Pena, who takes a called strike. By the way, the Braves designated outfielder Peter Borges for assignment when they officially recalled Max Fried prior to tonight's game. It's Fried's 4th different stint in the majors this season.
There's some lessons you just have to learn for yourself on the mound as a young pitcher. No pitching coach can teach you. There's a certain feel you get out there.
Well, we talked to Mike Foltynewicz earlier in the game, and that was the thing with him. Like, he just needed to pitch at the major league level and get control of his emotions and get control of a big league game and a big league atmosphere. And you cannot replicate the feeling when you step between the lines on a big league field and see the people and the decks and the scoreboard and everything. And sometimes it takes guys longer than others. And Folty, to the Braves' credit, they just kept throwing him out there, and now he's kind of figured it out. And Fried is on his way to figuring it out. Like I said, I talked to the Braves guys, and they said, hey, he knows he belongs now. And that's a huge step. And Foltynewicz figured it out. Hey, I belong, and I'm going to get the chance to do this every 5th day for a long time. So you're right, Coney. Sometimes it just takes guys to get through it and figure it out on their own.
Matt Whistler up and throwing in the Braves pen. 1-2 to Pena.
Seen a lot of swings like that. 72-mile-an-hour curveball way out in front. A lot of Cardinals hitters lunging. We've seen this all day. Look how big that break is. 72 from 94 on the top end to 72 there. It is extremely difficult for hitters to stay back.
Stay back. That is one of the worst hitting. I know that people say that all the time, but honestly, as a hitter, that's like one of the worst terms, stay back, because you don't actually stay back. You actually want to let the ball travel. So staying back implies something that is way off, and I know you didn't mean it that way, but you hear it. And when you tell a guy to stay back, a lot of times they actually stay too far back, especially when they get more advanced and they don't understand that you're actually just supposed to let the ball travel. So I had an old hitting coach, Greg Walker, would be like, if I ever hear you say stay back, I'm going to strangle you. Don't stay back. Let the ball travel.
For a pitcher, I would love to see lunging. You want to disrupt timing. You want to see jam shots your fastball, beating guys on the inside. They're late. You want to break some bats, and then you want to see them lunging. And we've seen a lot of that today from Cardinal hitters. Late on the fastball and way out in front of the curveball.
10th pitch of the at-bat to Pena is strikeout number 10 for Max Fried tonight.
Another thing, he's shown the ability to go up the ladder with that four-seam fastball. It's a great combination if you can control that four-seam fastball and work it up the ladder and then have the big curveball. It's almost off the same plane. The curveball's got a big break to it, and the high fastball looks like could be a curveball. It's kind of coming in on that sort of a plane, or the tunneling action of two pitches off of each other.
Every spot in the Cardinals batting order has struck out tonight at least once.
Well, you talked about Sid Fernandez. That was his thing, right? The high fastball and then the curveball off the fastball. It's a deadly combination for a hitter.
His ability to consistently get it over for strikes. He's got two different kinds. One he can drop in there like that one, or one he can miss and go for the strikeout with.
Strikeout number 11 for Max Fried.
Just great command of his curveball all night long.
He has so many options. Like you said, he's commanded his curveball so well. He can go high fastball. You get ahead in the count, guess what? High fastball. And now out of the same exact arm slot, same exact hand slot, the curveball starts out and then boom, disappears, and Jerko has no chance. it's pitching 101. If you can throw a high four-seam fastball and back it up with a curveball as a hitter, it makes it for a long, long night.
Harrison Bader 1 for 2. Singled back in the second inning, one of 4 Cardinals base hits.
Got one more out to go, kind of dropping down 3-0 here, but that is kind of the complete game for today's pitchers. It's 7 innings, around 100 pitches. Because major league pitchers won't be allowed to throw 130, 140 pitches anymore. So you have to be efficient.
This is pitch number 100, and it's a called strike, now 3-1.
And he's right in that range. What you want to be is, how many pitches does it take you to get through 7 innings?
Ball 4, so Bader draws a 2-out walk. Third walk issued by Fried. Here comes manager Brian Snitker. So that will be all for Max Fried to this point. The best performance of his major league career.
It's one he's going to remember for a long time. Even though he may be a little disappointed he couldn't finish that inning. He could go home and feel good about it tonight.
Matches a Braves season high with 11 strikeouts in 6 2/3 innings here in St. Louis. The action begins at the T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN July 16th at 8 Eastern. Then catch baseball's biggest stars at the 89th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. July 17th on Fox. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. Matt Wisler makes his 7th appearance on a relief of Max Fried, who was outstanding. Leaves with a 10-0 lead. 1-1 to Munoz. Now 1-2. 2-out walk to Bader after Fried struck out Pena and Jerko. Munoz down on strikes to end the inning. 7 of the books here in St. Louis. Behind Max Fried, 10-0 Atlanta. Atlanta with 6 runs in the 5th inning to break things open. Austin Gomber, the 4th Cardinals pitcher of the night, makes his 14th appearance. Facing Albies, who has 3 hits in tonight's game. He has scored twice, and he's driven in 2 runs. Every Brave starter with at least 1 base hit. 7 of their 14 hits have gone for extra bases. Knocked down off the glove of Gomber, and he fires to first to retire Albies. Did it hit his glove or his hand? Looked like the glove.
Maybe a little bit of meat below the heel of the glove.
Can't be a good feeling, a ball coming off the bat right at you like that. But he stays with it, makes a nice play, and the Cardinals can ill afford to lose any other pitcher. Going to stay in the game, though. He's tough. He's from Orlando, Florida.
AJ's hometown.
That's right. Gomber went to my rival high school. I went to Dr. Phillips. He went to West Orange, and along with Oliver Marmol, the first base coach for the Cardinals, is also a Dr. Phillips High School grad. So go DP.
And then it was on to Florida Atlantic for Austin Gomber.
That's right.
Freddie Freeman, 0-1.
My first time here seeing this version of Busch Stadium here, Kenny. I'm very impressed. It's beautifully done ballpark. I've been in the American League for a while. It's nice to get over here and see National League. And growing up in Kansas City, you know, the Cardinals were legendary. Their radio network span was just enormous. AJ covered the whole Midwest and then some, and those championships there, when you think about it, there's the Yankees and there's the Cardinals. 11 World Series titles. What a great baseball town. I know you played here. I think you got a little taste of it.
You saw Whitey Herzog earlier as Freeman grounds out into the shift. Of course, Whitey managed in Kansas City as well back in the 70s. Had great success with the Royals.
He really did. The White Rat. A Hall of Famer himself.
What a nickname, the White Rat. You said it, Coney, though. I mean, I played here for 3 months, and I'll be honest, the fans here were amazing. Everyone says their fans are the best, but for me, the difference in St. Louis and everywhere else is the positivity. Some fans are great when you're going well. The Cardinals fans are great when you're going bad. They tell the story. They come up to you. You could be 0 for 30 like Tommy Pham is, and they'll see you walking down the street, and they'll come up to you and say, hey, it's okay, you'll get him tomorrow. And they truly mean it. Where in your heart of hearts, you're like, I don't know if I'll ever get a hit again. But the Cardinal fans, they'll back you as long as you're wearing that red. And I give them credit, man. When I came here, I was thinking I was about done playing baseball, and they made it fun for me, along with obviously the Cardinals organization and the players and the people in the Cardinals dugout and in that clubhouse. But I mean, they got me 2 more extra years in the big leagues with the Braves, so I have nothing but good things for the St. Louis Cardinals, the city, and the fans of the Cardinals.
Tremendous history here in St. Louis.
Stan the man. Look at that stance, too. That is a great stance. Trophy stance, right? On the trophy, top of the trophy. Look at that. That's the pure trophy stance.
You know, everybody thinks they're inventing the wheel nowadays with launch angle and all the metrics. And between him and Ted Williams, they had some launch angle naturally built in. Uncoiling, usual. Incredible coil in his swing and unleashed. Ted Williams wrote about a slide uppercut 50 years ago in his book.
Here's some trivia for you, David. You said at your first trip to the new Busch Stadium, your only career save was at the old Busch.
That's right, I remember that.
1987.
1987.
Second to last game of the regular season.
Second to last game of the regular season. Got that save on very little sleep.
We hope to hear about it during the next half inning. Middle of the 8th at the new Busch. for the Atlanta Braves. First career base hit for their starting pitcher, Max Fried. Then Inciarte with a base hit. A double off the bat of Ozzie Albies. And then Nick Markakis with his 4th career grand slam home run. That gave Atlanta a 7-0 lead. Our Budweiser game summary. Acuna with a 2-run shot in the 2nd, the Markakis grand slam in the 5th, and a tremendous performance by Fried both at the plate and on the mound. 6 2/3, longest outing of his major league career, and a career high 11 strikeouts. Colton Wong batting for the first time, facing Matt Wisler. Towering pop up to the left side in foul territory. Catch is made by Camargo for out number 1. Ryan Flaherty now at first base for Atlanta.
So we had the number discussion earlier about pitchers wearing single digits and why guys pick numbers. Greg Garcia, 35. When I played for the Cardinals, I was 35. He was number 12, which I was for a long time. He came up, and I'm like, hey, 12's available? So I made him give me 12. So now he wears 35. He didn't really have a choice in the matter. He was a rookie coming up. I'm like, hey, I didn't know that was available. I wasn't given the option. So Greg Garcia, congratulations. You just inherited 35.
And he's still wearing it.
He still is, years later.
Yeah, did you buy him lunch?
No,
dinner,
I did.
nothing?
I did. At the time, there was iTunes was still a big thing, but I got him $1,000 to iTunes. Laid it in his locker. He was very appreciative.
There you go. Nice job, AJ. Number 35, Greg Garcia grounds out to the second baseman, Albies, for out number 2. I'll give you this headset for a $1,000 gift card.
Well, the best part is when I went to switch, because I'd been a Cardinal for a little while, they were like, we don't know if you can switch because Major League Baseball has a policy if you switch, they have T-shirts and stuff made. And I was like, look, guys, the 4 T-shirts that are out there that have Brzezinski 35 on, I'll buy them all, okay? I'm like, I don't think they were a big seller here in St. Louis for the 2 months I was here.
I think I saw one tonight.
It was probably a family member of mine.
Tommy Pham walked his last time up. Still 0 for his last 28. 0 for 2 tonight.
And when you're 0 for 28, you get 2-0 and you're ready to launch, and you got paints one inside too, and you shake your head like, how dare you make such a good pitch when I'm ready to go?
Tonight's telecast is sponsored by the 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. And by AT&T. The 2-2 from Whistler. High and tight. Full count.
You know, AJ, you mentioned something earlier, you know, about hitting philosophies and stay back. Or it just looks to me like Pham's he's not getting ready to hit on time, just late on fastballs.
Well, the only thing you control as your hitter is being ready.
Called strike 3. He was headed down towards first. So the inning comes to an end. Pham 0 for his last 29. And we head to the 9th in St. Louis. For the Cardinals, his 35th appearance, with Atlanta leading 10-0. 10 runs on 14 hits for the Braves. Cardinals, no runs, only 4 base hits. All singles for St. Louis tonight. First pitch to Suzuki. Rounds out to the shortstop Munoz for out number 1. It's a Braves new world. First place for 52 days, most in 4 seasons. Braves lead the National League in runs, hits, and average. One of 3 teams without a losing streak more than 3 games. 4 regulars in their starting lineup, 24 or younger. They hit the midway point tonight, game number 81. Can they keep this up?
Offense is for real. You know, we've seen it, the right blend of youth and veterans that are all on top of their game. And you really need young pitchers like we saw today with Max Fried, because the cost of a starting pitcher, especially front line ones, on the open market is going to be exorbitantly high. So, yes, absolutely they can. Nobody's pulling away. I still like the Nationals because of their pedigree and their starting rotation, and they have some youth too with Soto coming on. He's a good-looking young hitter, but absolutely the Braves are for real.
Well, the Braves are I think they're 1 year ahead of where they thought they would be. I think next year was kind of the year they were targeting as far as we can really compete, but because of, like you said, the Nationals aren't playing.
Another base hit for Acuna. And then it gets past Pham.
We might have an inside the park homer. Oh, it fell down. Sometimes your offense can influence your defense. First of all, nice swing here by Acuna. Just a bullet to right center, but hustling out of the box, putting pressure on the Cardinals, and they make another error. And Tommy Pham 0 for 29 as we see Acuna stumble again rounding the bases. That boy needs to get some training wheels. But Tommy Pham out in center field just zoos the ball, and then he has to put his head down and chase it. And that's a bad feeling as a position player.
So it's a single and an error charge to Pham. And now Camargo with a fly ball to center field. Pham is under this one. Acuna tags, and he scores the 11th run. Sacrifice fly. RBI for Camargo. Braves now lead 11-0.
So back to the original point about the Braves we were talking about before the Acuna hit. The Braves are for real because of their lineup, like you said, and their starting pitching has been much better than they anticipated. The Nationals haven't been near what everyone thought with the injuries and just people not hitting. Philadelphia is kind of 500 where we kind of thought they'd be, maybe a little ahead. But if the Braves go out, I feel, and get a bullpen help, I think their starters are good enough to get them there. They need some bullpen help. They need Vizcaíno, who's been their closer all year, to get back healthy. And absolutely, the Braves are for real. And if you ask anyone in the Braves, like I said, I think they thought they're 1 year ahead of it. But the rebuilding process is working. These guys enjoy being around each other. And you can feel the energy when you walk in their clubhouse, how much they believe in this 25-guy unit that they have. And as a player, Coney, you've been through it. When you start winning and you start believing, that's 80%, 90% of the battle as a player. Hey, we believe we're good. We believe we can win, and that carries over. So it's not just like, hey, we're looking at the scoreboard, but it's a feeling you get every day when you walk into the clubhouse that, hey, man, we can do this and we can win this division.
Swanson strikes out to end the inning, but the Braves add another run. Middle of the ninth in St. Louis, 11-0 Atlanta. ninth in St. Louis. Time for the Gatorade Proven Performance fifth inning. Nick Markakis having a tremendous season. His fourth career Grand Slam home run. He takes Luke Weaver deep. And that broke things open for the Braves. They've added 4 more runs. It is now 11-0. And the Cardinals, over their last 3 games, have been outscored 21-2. 5-1 loss to Cleveland. 5-1 loss here last night. And they trail 11-0 today.
The best part of that Grand Slam replay we showed of Nick Markakis, he didn't have a smile on his face after he hit the Grand Slam. He's giving his teammates high five and he's stone-faced. So I know when I hit a Grand Slam, man, he couldn't wipe the smile off my face. He looked like he didn't even care. It was like a ho-hum ground ball to second.
Jose Martinez 0 for 3 tonight. Sends this one to deep center field. Inciarte racing back. It is gone. Bottom of the ninth, solo shot off the bat of Martinez. His 13th of the season and the first extra base hit for the St. Louis Cardinals tonight. Cardinals had only 4 hits last night, 3 singles. They had only 4 hits tonight, all singles, up until that Martinez home run.
It's kind of the Cardinal way this year. They don't get a lot of singles. They don't hit for a high average, but they hit home runs. So if you can keep them in the park, like the Braves have done such a good job the first 2 games, until that home run, you can really stifle this Cardinals offense.
Now Dexter Fowler pinch hitting for the pitcher Bud Norris. Fowler with a base hit into center field.
The numbers for the Cardinals, you see how low they rank in everything except for home runs. They don't get singles, they don't get doubles, they don't get triples, they don't get a lot of hits, but they hit a lot of home runs. So as a catcher and as an opposing team, you say, hey, if we can just keep them in the park, we should beat them. And the Braves have done that until the Martinez homer, and that's the only run the Cardinals have scored tonight.
And they did not score last night until the 9th inning. Great job by our entire crew here in St. Louis, led by producer Aaron Stoikov, director John Moore. Our associate director is Jordan Harrison, broadcast associate Sam Younger. Our statistician, the great Marty Aronoff, crunching the numbers along with Mark Seguro. 1-1 on Pena, who struck out in his first at bat. (11-1) Atlanta. Bottom of the 9th inning. Fowler the runner on first. 2-1 count on Francisco Pena.
Watching Matt Whistler pitch, he's always been a guy the Braves have thought really highly of. Came over in the Kimbrel trade, guy with a really good arm. They just can't figure out if he's a starter, reliever.
Third consecutive hit for the Cardinals here in the 9th. Fowler on his way to third. As the throw sails away, moving to second is Pena. You talked about the fans here in St. Louis, AJ. Well, about half of them have hung in there. 10th sellout of the season, 46,667, and those who are still here up on their feet cheering for their Cardinals despite trailing by 10.
There's a lot of rally caps in the crowd, and they're here. They're still cheering, and good for them because the Cardinals have given them something to cheer about here in the 9th inning with a home run. Now second and third, nobody out, so they get to see him score some runs. Saw some fireworks.
Jerko 0 for 3 tonight.
He kind of lost in the shuffle when you've got such a big lead there. On the play we just saw, and Acuna Jr. throwing to the wrong bag there. Not only overthrowing, but a really bad decision going to third there at all, especially with any kind of a lead.
Keep the double play in order, right?
Throw the ball to second base. It's a young man, very talented. The wrong decision there.
Charged with his second error of the season.
Had an old outfield coach yell at the outfielders, you can never go wrong. If you hit the cutoff man, you throw it to second base. There is no wrong throw to second base.
You mentioned Juan Soto earlier with the Nationals. He's the youngest player in Major League Baseball. Acuna the second youngest. He's 20, and then Albies 21. So the Braves with two of the three youngest players in all of baseball, not only in their lineup but having terrific seasons. Cardinals score their second run on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Jerko, driving home Dexter Fowler. Time now for our LG G7 pitcher profile. How about Max Fried's performance tonight?
Outstanding. I mean, the 11 strikeouts really jump off the page at you, but the 4 hits, not really a whole lot of hard hit baseballs off of him as well. He kept the Cardinal lineup off balance, to and fro all night long. Fastballs up the zone, curveballs down. Great combination.
Here's Harrison Bader, and he drives this one down the left field line into the corner. Pena comes home with the third run of the inning for St. Louis.
Well, you said it, Kenny. The Cardinal fans are still here, and they're still cheering for the Redbirds.
Cardinals had only 4 hits in the game coming into this inning. They have 4 in the ninth. 3 runs have come in. Of course, the Braves with an 11-run cushion entering the bottom of the ninth inning.
It's got to be hard, right, Coney, as a pitcher? It's 11-0. Kind of like, let's get this over with. Guys are up there swinging first pitch, kind of big hacks off you. It's a tough situation.
Can get you out of your game a little bit, where you end up throwing fastballs down the middle and get out of your pitching mode. Also has forced the Braves to get up the bullpen just in case here.
There's Sam Freeman. Bader moved to third on the wild pitch. 1-1 count on Munoz with 1 out, bottom of the ninth inning. Munoz for the base hit. Scoring Bader. Munoz on his way to second. He's in. 4 runs on 5 hits in the inning for the Cardinals.
Yeah, hanging breaking ball right there. Another well-struck baseball in this inning. Some loud sounds finally coming off the Cardinals' bats. You see that was well struck. And that's going to be it.
Whistler faced 6 batters in the ninth, retired only 1. runs in the bottom of the ninth inning on 5 hits. Sam Freeman on in relief of Matt Whistler. Freeman, the third pitcher of the night for the Braves, facing Kolten Wong. 40th appearance for Freeman. Brave starter Max Fried went 6 2/3, did not allow a run on 4 hits, struck out 11. Munoz takes his lead off second. 1-1 now on Wong. Cardinals no runs on 4 hits over the first 8 innings. 4 runs, 5 hits here in the ninth. Bounced foul off to the right side, 1-2.
It really looked like Kolten Wong broke through last year for the Cardinals. I think they were kind of counting on him this year. It's been a struggle so far. Hit 285 last year, kind of a breakout season, and 376 on base percentage. This year, tough start. 191 average coming into this game.
And they need him. They need, if the Cardinals are truly going to contend this year, which they believe deep down they can do, they need Kolten Wong to get it going.
Talking about Sid Fernandez earlier. Kolten Wong from Sid's home state of Hawaii. Full count. Garcia on deck. 4 runs in the inning for the Cardinals. They trail by 7. Payoff pitch from Freeman. Caught by the first baseman Flaherty. Now 2 away.
And when you're struggling the way Kolten Wong has kind of struggled all season, you get a good at bat off a lefty, you hit a line drive, and the guy's standing right there for an out. If you're going good, that ball goes over his head, down the line for a single and an RBI. But when you're going bad, man, it always goes in their glove.
So now the Cardinals down to their final out. Garcia 1 for 2, singled back in the 6th inning. Strike 1. Munoz, the runner on second. Bounce to the right side. Flaherty steps on the bag, and that will do it. It will look a little better in the box score. It was 11-0. Entering the bottom of the ninth, the Cardinals score 4, but they lose for the 2nd straight night to the Atlanta Braves. The first place Braves over the Cardinals 11-4. Back with more from St. Louis in a moment.